Growing up, there were two constants in my life: my sister Jade and the knowledge that she was everyone's favorite. We were only 3 years apart, close enough that we shared toys, clothes, friends, but somehow, Jade always seemed to shine a little brighter. It wasn't just in my head, the entire world seemed to think so too. Jade was breathtaking as a little girl. I don't say that with bitterness, just honesty. She had these huge green eyes framed with thick lashes, perfect dimples, soft golden hair that curled at the ends like a doll's. People would literally stop my mother in the street to gush over her beauty. "She's going to be a model one day," they would coo. "What a beautiful little girl." Meanwhile, I, with my mousy brown hair and average features, faded into the background like the sidekick in someone else's story. At home, Jade's pedestal was high and polished. Every mistake she made was downplayed or erased. If she got bad grades, it was because the teacher was unfair. If she threw a tantrum, it was because she was sensitive and misunderstood. If I dared to question it, my parents would shut me down. "Lisa, you should be more supportive. Your sister has so much potential." I learned early on that love in our family was conditional, and it depended on how much you could dazzle others. Still, I loved Jade. It's impossible not to love someone you're so intertwined with, even when it hurts. Through our teenage years, her beauty grew more pronounced, and so did her sense of entitlement. She floated through school, barely scraping by because she believed, truly believed, that she was destined for something greater. She didn't need A-levels or degrees. She was going to be famous, a model, an influencer, a star. By the time she was 18, Jade had signed with a small agency. We were all so proud, even me. I remember thinking maybe this was her moment. Maybe this would justify all the years of indulgence. But modeling wasn't what she thought it would be. It wasn't all glamorous shoots and champagne. It was early mornings, standing in freezing warehouses for hours, waiting to be called. It was rejection. Lots of it. And Jade didn't handle rejection well. Within a year, she dropped out of university and was back at home, bitter and broke. The pattern had started. Jade would leap at a new dream with both hands, fail, and then find someone else to blame. Life was unfair. The world didn't recognize her talent. It was always someone else's fault. When she announced her pregnancy at 23, no one was shocked, least of all me. It felt like just another impulsive decision she hadn't thought through. The father, a part-time DJ she met at a club, he ghosted her before the first trimester was over. Our parents swooped in, of course. Bought the pram, decorated the nursery, paid for the baby shower. And me? I watched from the sidelines, biting my tongue so hard it practically bled. Because no matter how many times Jade burned the people around her, we always ran toward the fire. The day Jade's daughter, my niece, was born, I cried. Not for Jade, but for the tiny innocent girl who had no idea what kind of mother she had. I promised myself that no matter what happened, I would be there for her. And that promise was tested sooner than I ever could have imagined. The christening was Jade's idea. She wanted a big event, she said, something classy that would put us back on the map after the embarrassment of her failed modeling career and single mom status. Of course, Jade had no money to pay for any of it. Guess who she called? I shouldn't have said yes. Every instinct in my body screamed at me not to. But when I looked at my niece's tiny face, I couldn't say no. I paid for the venue, a modest but beautiful hall at the edge of town. I paid for the decorations, white roses, pink balloons, custom-made centerpieces. I paid for the food, a catered buffet that cost more than my monthly car payment. I even paid for Jade's dress because she couldn't find anything nice in her budget. The day of the christening was beautiful, despite everything. My niece was perfect in her little lacy gown, cooing and gurgling in everyone's arms. Family and friends filled the hall, dropping envelopes stuffed with money into a gleaming white box labeled "Blessings for Baby." Jade beamed like a queen. She posed for photos, accepted compliments, soaked in the attention like a sponge. If I hadn't known her so well, I might have believed she was a changed woman. 2 days later, she was gone. She called our mom in the morning, saying she needed some time to herself and would be back in a few weeks. And just like that, she dumped her newborn daughter on our parents' doorstep without so much as a second thought. Mum was devastated but covered it up with excuses. "She's just overwhelmed," she said. "New motherhood is hard." Dad was furious but stayed silent, as he always did when it came to Jade. And me? I took unpaid leave from work to help take care of my niece. I fed her at 2 a.m. I rocked her to sleep when she screamed through the night. I sat by her crib in the dark, praying that she would never feel the same emptiness I had grown up with. 3 weeks dragged by like an eternity. And then Jade came back, and everything changed. I'll never forget the moment she walked into the house. Mum called me over excitedly. "Come see Jade. She's home." I rushed over, heart pounding, desperate to see my niece reunited with her mother. But when Jade strolled into the living room, my jaw nearly hit the floor. Her body was different, dramatically different. Her hips were wider, her waist smaller, her backside unnaturally round and lifted. It didn't take a genius to figure out what had happened. "Self-care," she chirped when she caught me staring. "I had to do something for me, you know? After everything." "Where did you get the money?" I asked slowly. She waved a manicured hand. "Oh, you know, refunds, tax stuff, some back pay, little bit of everything." I didn't believe her for a second. Still, I said nothing. I helped unpack her bags. I handed her the baby. I smiled and pretended everything was fine. But that night, as I was leaving, I overheard something that shattered any illusions I had left. Jade was on the phone with her best friend, her voice low but excited. "I swear," she giggled. "Thank God for that christening money. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it otherwise." The air left my lungs. I stumbled out of the house like I'd been punched. She had used the money, her daughter's money, to pay for her Brazilian butt lift. Money that family and friends had gifted in good faith. Money meant for nappies, formula, clothes, maybe even a future college fund. Gone, squandered, spent on vanity. I confronted her the next day. I didn't shout. I didn't scream. I simply asked, "How could you?" Her eyes flashed with anger. "Don't start," she snapped. "You don't understand what it's like. My body was ruined after pregnancy. I deserve to feel good about myself again." "You used your daughter's money," I said, my voice shaking. "Money people gave to help her, not you." She scoffed. "She owes me. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have needed surgery in the first place." That was the moment something inside me snapped. Jade wasn't just selfish, she was dangerous, and someone had to stop her. I didn't act right away. For days I wrestled with myself. Would exposing her make me just as bad? Would it hurt my niece more than it helped? But every time I saw Jade preening in front of the mirror, every time I watched her post another thirst trap on Instagram while my parents changed her daughter's nappies, my anger grew. I realized I had two choices: stay silent and let her continue, or speak up and risk the fallout. I chose the second. One night, after putting my niece to sleep, I sat down at my laptop and wrote out the truth. No embellishments, no dramatics, just cold hard facts. Instagram. Today, I found out my sister used her newborn daughter's christening money gifted by family and friends, to pay for cosmetic surgery. She abandoned her baby for 3 weeks to recover. Some people don't deserve the blessings they're given. Family or not, accountability matters. Twitter. Imagine paying for your niece's christening only to find out her mum used the baby's gifted money to fund a BBL. Vanity over responsibility, every time. Facebook. I'm not proud to share this, but I refuse to stay silent. My sister left her daughter behind so she could use the baby's christening gifts to pay for cosmetic surgery. I paid for the christening. I helped care for the baby, and I'm done covering for her selfishness. The reaction was immediate. Friends called, family messaged. Even people I hadn't spoken to in years reached out, shocked and appalled. Jade's carefully curated image crumbled overnight, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel invisible. The day after I posted, Jade showed up at my flat, banging on the door like a hurricane. "You vindictive bitch," she screamed when I opened it. "You ruined my life." I stood my ground. "You did that yourself," I said calmly. She cried. She screamed. She threatened to sue me. Then she begged. "Please," she sobbed, collapsing onto my sofa. "Please take it down. Please don't do this to me." But it wasn't about her anymore. It was about my niece. And the truth. I refused. Jade left, slamming the door so hard the whole frame rattled. Our parents were furious at first. "You should have come to us first," Mum cried. But slowly, as the dust settled, they realized the truth. They saw how Jade prioritized her own vanity over her daughter's well-being. People distanced themselves from Jade. Brand collaborations she was trying to land fell through. She became a cautionary tale instead of an influencer. And my niece? She thrived, loved, protected, safe. Sometimes when I hold her and she giggles in my arms, I wonder if she'll ever know how much I fought for her, how much I loved her, how much I was willing to lose to make sure she had a chance at a better life. Family isn't about blood, it's about love. It's about doing the right thing even when it hurts. And if that makes me the villain in some people's stories, so be it. I'd rather be the villain than the enabler. Every single time.